Is your fantasy basketball team struggling with field goal percentage? Well, we may have some tips for you here coming up next on Beat the Odds. Don't go anywhere. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. We're going to take a look at what you can do if your team is struggling with field goal percentage here. We're about getting close to halfway through the point of the season here. Not a bad idea to consider trades if your team is active with trades and pickups and stuff like that. There's a couple of tips that we can give you here as to who you want to target in potential trades here if you are struggling with field goal percentage. Now, there are a couple of things that we want to go over here as first. The first thing, of course, is make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so that way you don't miss an episode like this. Also, leave comments down below here with what you think of this episode here, or if you got players that maybe I missed that you want to be able to add to this list coming up here. The other thing I want to make sure you guys know is we have some qualifiers with the players that we choose. To start, if you're looking at making trades, we're aiming for those who are ranked 30 or below in your fantasy circles here, because we figure that those who are rated above that are almost going to be impossible to be able to pull a trade off for. Like, we're not looking for trying to trade for like a Kevin Durant or a LeBron James or anything like that. Those guys are going to be just way too hard to be able to pluck off their manager's team. So we're more looking for players that would be ranked a little less than that, so that way you might be able to make a constructive trade with them. The other thing we're looking at is, of course, if you can't find a trade partner, I'm going to give you some players that you may be able to find on your waiver wire that might help your team in these categories here as well. Now, the one thing with the waiver wire is I'm looking at players who are owned in either 60% of leagues or less. One thing of note as well here when we're looking at field goal percentage, there's a very important detail to keep in mind, and that is the weighted average. So for example, I've got a player on my list who has a field goal percentage of 73.7%, and he's only taking 3.9 shots per game. He's going to have a much less impact on a fantasy basketball team as a player who is shooting 50.7% from the field with 17.1 shots per game. Something very important to keep in mind there as well. All right, let's get started here with some guards. We're going to start with the point guard position. The first player that you should probably target in a trade if you're looking for field goal percentage help would be De'Aaron Fox. He is currently ranked 56 in Yahoo circles here, shooting 50.7% from the field on 17.1 shots. So he's generating a high shot count, so he's going to have a very high impact on your team here for field goal percentage. Now, of course, whenever you're singling in on a category, it's very important to know where he may be hurting you or helping you in other categories, so we'll go over that as well here for you. He's going to be a solid source of rebounds here as well. He's averaging 4.8 rebounds per game. But he's going to hurt you in the following categories. He's not a good free throw shooter, so he's 78.8%. He's not really good at three-pointers either. He's 1.8, which is not terrible, but for a point guard, you'd want to see a little higher than that. And of course, your steal rate is less than 1, so he's not going to really help you out in that category there as well. So if you're looking at picking up Fox, just keep that in mind here. He's certainly going to help you out in field goals, but if your team is already strong enough to handle free throw, three-pointers, and steals, then he'd be an ideal candidate for you to consider there. Next up, we got Jalen Brunson in New York. He is ranked 62, 46% from the field on 15.8 shots. So he's got a high shot count and a medium to high impact on your field goal percentage. 46% is not awesome for a point guard, but it's certainly better than average. So that's kind of what you're looking for. You want to get a solid guy who's taking a fair amount of shots here that could put it up above average percentages there for you to be able to help you out. Now, the thing with Brunson is he's going to be a good help there for you as well in free throw percentage and assist to turnover. For free throws, he's at 87% for the season, and he's averaging 3.3 assists to turnover. That's a really, really good mark there for a point guard. So somebody that can help you out in those categories there as well. He's not a good rebounder, so expect to take a bit of a hit there. But if you got some good rebounding centers, you can easily counter the loss of rebounding here from Jalen Brunson. Up next, we got Markelle Fultz. He's going to be a waiver wire pickup. He's available in 40% of leagues, so he's currently owned in 60%. 45.5% from the field here on 10.3 shots, so a medium impact player here for your team, about average, and taking a medium amount of shots there. So he's not going to really hurt you in that category, so he'd be somebody that I would consider picking up. You're going to gain a player who's going to be really good for you in steals. And he's a bit of a drag here on free throws, averaging 67.7% here from the line. So he's certainly not going to help you out in that area. But other than that, I think he'd be a solid pickup if you can be able to pluck him from the waiver wire. Up next, we have shooting guards. We're going to start with Tyrese Maxey in Philadelphia. He's been out here for a little bit, but he's due to make a return here on tomorrow, actually. 46.2% from the field on 18.2 shots, so he's taken a lot of shots and at a pretty solid clip at 46%. So I'd say he'd be a high impact player there for your squad. He's going to be a definite bonus in points, and he's going to help you out in 3-pointers made there as well with 2.9 3-pointers per game. But he's a pretty big drag on the free throw percentage. Right now he's averaging 73.8 free throws here on 4.3 shots. So buyer beware. If you don't want to lose out on your free throw percentages, then Tyrese might not be the right guy there for you. But if you're okay with there already, then he would be certainly somebody to take a look at that could help you out in the points, 3-pointers made, and would be a good impact there for your free throws, or for your field goal percentage there too. Up next, certainly a big help there for your field goal percentage. We have Bradley Beal. Currently averaging 52.7% from the field on 16.8 shots. So he's taking a lot of shots. He's a very high impact player for your squad there for field goal percentage. And he's also helping you out in free throws and assists too. So at 85.8% for free throws and 5.2 assists from the shooting guard position is a really good amount. And he's got a fair amount of turnovers, 2.8 turnovers there, but I could live with that with what he brings to the table here. So if you can pry Beal from a player there, that would be a really good target for you to go after here, especially if you're looking for help in free throws. Oh, and field goal percentage, of course. Off the waivers, we're looking at Norman Powell. He is owned in 48% of leagues. So he's available in more than half of the leagues right now. 47.8% field goal percentage here on 11.3 shots. So he's taken a good amount of shots. So he's got a medium impact here along that line for field goal percentage. Might be getting, he's definitely the first one off the bench, but he's always up for more shots, of course, if he's healthy and either Kawhi and Paul George is not. So definitely somebody you want to keep an eye on. If you can pick him up. Now, of course, he's going to help you out in points. He's going to help you out in 3-pointers made. But he doesn't really offer a whole lot else in the form of production. He's a drag on rebounds, assists, and stocks. So I would be careful with regards to that. If you're already a little shallow in those areas, maybe might not be the best guy to pick up. But if you can stomach a pure shooter on your team, then Powell would be a good one to take a look at if you want to improve your field goal percentage. Let's take a look at some small forwards here. We're going to start in Denver. We have Aaron Gordon, 61.1% from the field on 11.1 shots. So he's taken a good amount of shots there as well. A little bit of a higher impact because he's making those shots at a pretty high clip. Now, Aaron Gordon, of course, he is taking far fewer threes in the Denver system, and he's really focusing in on his interior play, which is why his field goal percentage is skyrocketing here. So I would buy into that. I don't think that's an aberration. I think that's something you'll see kind of hold true towards through the course of the year. He is going to help you out in stocks. He averages about 1.7 stocks a game, kind of evenly split between steals and blocks. But he has a pretty big drag on free throw percentage here at 64.4%. Not a whole lot of shots that he's taken from the line, so it's not going to hurt you too much, but it's definitely something to keep in mind if you're targeting Aaron Gordon in a trade. Next up, we have DeMar DeRozan. This one would be a bit of a harder get from a team here, but not a bad one to consider trying to go for if you can. 51.2% from the field on 18.3 shots per game. Taking a lot of shots and at a really high clip there, so he's going to be a very high impact player. that you might be able to get for your squad, and he's really going to help you out in free throws and assist to turnover ratio. He's a solid playmaker there as well. 88.7 from the line and 2.63 assists per turnover. Those are really good marks here for a small forward. He's definitely not a three-point shooter. This is no surprise. He averages 0.4 per game, so he's not going to help you out there. And he's not exactly strong with stocks there either at 1.3, given the amount of time that he has on the floor. You would hope for more of that from DeMar DeRozan, but that's not his game really either. His game is more your mid-range shooting and, of course, your distribution. Somebody off the waiver that you might be able to pick off here, Trey Murphy. He's currently owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues here. 47.7% from the field on 9 shots per game. So he's not taking a whole lot of shots. So he's got a bit of a lower impact. He's kind of one of those spot starters if you're looking for somebody to kind of plug in here for field goal percentage. But the thing with him is that he's solid in field goals, so he's not going to hurt you there, but he's really good with his free throws and three-pointers and steals for the position that he plays here. 91% from the line, 2.4 threes per game, and 1.1 steals. Not a good rebounder. He's only doing 4.3 rebounds per game here, so if you can stomach that again, then there's a lot of good to offer here for Trey Murphy. I would look to see if you can pick him up here for your team. Moving on to some power forwards here, we got Zion first up as a real good help here with field goal percentage. 60.7% from the field on 16.2 shots. He's taking a fair amount of shots here, and of course he's hitting them at a very high clip, which makes him a very high impact player for field goals. So if you need an immediate turnaround there, that's not a bad one, not a bad player to target. He's going to help you out with assists here as well. He's seen more focus here against double teams, and he's becoming a decent passer out of those double teams here. But he's going to be a massive drain on free throws. He's only averaging 71.5% from the line on 8.2 shots. So it's a very high impact drain on your free throw percentages here. So somebody that, you know, again, if you're punting free throws, then by all means go for Zion. If free throws, you're kind of on the fence, then I would caution that the gain you might get in your field goal percentage, you might see that loss in your free throws. He's also averaging 3.2 turnovers a game, which is very high for a power forward, so something to keep in mind there as well. Up next, we got Evan Mobley, 55.8% from the field on 10.5 shots per game. So, you know, a medium amount of shots, medium impact player here for your field goal percentage. He's certainly helping you out in blocks at 1.3 blocks per game and 2.6 assists per game there as well. That's kind of nice from the kind of forward center position. He's also averaging 2.0 turnovers, which is a little high. So I'd like to see him clean that up there a little bit, but not a bad player to target if you can get him in a trade. And for somebody that you can pick up on the waiver wire, we have Walker Kessler for Utah, 57% owned, 73.7% from the field on 3.9 shots. So certainly not getting a whole lot of shots here, but he has the potential to be a medium impact player for field goal percentage here down the road. He's a certain beast on the for the blocks there for you, averaging 1.9 blocks per game with limited minutes. He's a drag on free throws, which is not uncommon there for somebody who plays in the middle. He's currently shooting at 54.7% from the field. But the consensus around the league is we should see more minutes coming down the pipe here for Kessler. And if that happens, then this will be a bona fide help here for you with your free throws and certainly with your blocks as well. Now for some more pure centers, we have Nicholas Claxton for Brooklyn, ranked 38 here. He's 74.3% from the field on 7.2 shots. So again, not a whole lot of shots, but he's making them at a really, really high clip. So he's going to have a medium impact there for your team for field goal percentage-wise. And again, he's a beast with blocks here as well. Kind of like Kessler, he's averaging 2.4 blocks per game. And he's hurting you on the free throw percentage there as well, kind of like Kessler at 46%. So he is kind of the ceiling that what I see here from Walker Kessler. If he gets more shots, he could turn into like a Nicholas Claxton light, if you will. DeAndre Ayton is up next here, 61.9% from the field on 12.7 shots per game, so he's taken a good amount of shots here. So he's got more of a high impact on your team here for your field goal percentage. He's certainly going to help you out in rebounds as well here at 9.7 rebounds per game. He's going to hurt you in stocks and turnovers. He's got a little bit too many turnovers than I'd like to see from a center at 2.1. And of course, he's 1.3 stocks per game. Is not exactly a good mark for you to hit there either. And then the last player on the list here, we've got Thomas Bryant, currently owned in 57% of leagues, 66.9% on the field on 6.3 shots per game. That's for the season. Now, of course, he's been seeing a lot more playing time with the injury to Anthony Davis. So as it stands right now, he's kind of a medium impact player for the time being. Of course, once Anthony Davis comes back, I don't foresee that being good for Thomas Bryant. I imagine his value is going to go down quite a bit. But for the time being, if you need to get a player just to help out for the next few weeks, he might not be a bad one to consider. He's going to help you out in 3-pointers made there as well, and he's going to be a bit of a drain in stocks. He's not really getting a whole lot of blocks for a center here. So again, something just to keep in mind if you are planning on picking up Thomas Bryant. And that's going to do it here for this episode. Hopefully you guys are able to find a couple of ideas to try and help you out with your field goal percentage for your team. Please do leave a like on the video here if you do appreciate this content. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And don't forget to keep an eye out there for that giveaway. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we will be giving away that Anthony Edwards PSA 9 slab for free. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thanks again for watching. We're going to sign off for now, but we're going to catch you guys on our next episode.